The millionaire is shocked to see the gardener identical to his deceased girlfriend, wearing the same necklace he had given his fiancée 24 years ago. Luna always had a sparkle in her eyes when talking about the countryside. She grew up among the flowers, open fields, and lush gardens that her mother and grandfather lovingly tended. However, things changed when her grandfather, weakened by age and illness, needed constant care. The family's small savings were not enough to cover medical expenses and daily needs. Luna decided it was time to seek new opportunities in the big city, where money circulated faster and in larger amounts. She arrived in the city with a suitcase full of simple clothes, a notebook with notes about plants, and a heart filled with hope. She knew her knowledge of gardening was valuable, but she didn't know how she would quickly find a job in such a large and impersonal place. After days of relentless searching and some sleepless nights in a cheap rented room, Luna finally found an opportunity. She applied for a gardener position in a small residential condominium. The interview was quick and informal, conducted by Donna Clara, a kind lady who managed the place. Seeing Luna's enthusiasm and passion for plants, Donna Clara did not hesitate to hire her. "You have something special, dear. This job is yours," she said with a smile. Luna started working immediately. The condominium gardens were modest, but she dedicated herself to transforming them with her magical touch. Her hands seemed to have a direct connection to the earth, and every plant she touched blossomed vibrantly. The flowers took on brighter colors, the trees seemed healthier, and the bushes formed harmonious patterns. It didn't take long for the residents to notice the difference and start talking about the new gardener. "The gardens have never looked so beautiful," the neighbors said. "Who is this girl who brought life to our plants?" Luna received the compliments with a shy smile, but inside she felt immense gratification. She knew each compliment was a step closer to ensuring the necessary money to help her family. Besides the work in the condominium, Luna started accepting small jobs in nearby residences. She tended the gardens with the same dedication, and her name quickly spread throughout the neighborhood. Each successfully completed job not only increased her recognition, but also filled her pocket with the money she so desperately needed. She sent part of her earnings to her mother, always with a loving letter, detailing her achievements and promising that better days were coming. The money Luna earned was crucial. It not only paid her bills, but also represented hope. Hope that her grandfather could get the treatment he needed, and that her mother could care for him without financial worries. Every penny was a victory, a step towards a more stable future for all those she loved. Even with the initial success, Luna knew she still had a long way to go. The work was hard, and the responsibility of caring for other people's gardens required not only skill, but also a lot of patience and resilience. However, her indomitable spirit and the need to earn more money for her family pushed her to keep striving and improving her skills. One morning, while trimming a bed of roses, Luna received an unexpected visit. Donna Clara approached, holding a small envelope. "Luna, dear, this is a special invitation. Mr. Manuel Rodriguez, the owner of that big mansion on the hill, heard about your work. He would like you to take care of his gardens. They say the pay is generous." Luna's heart raced. She knew who Manuel Rodriguez was, a man famous for his fortune and reserved personality. This invitation could be the opportunity she had been waiting for, the chance to earn the money necessary to finally ensure her grandfather's security and health. She accepted the invitation with gratitude and determination, ready to face the new challenge awaiting her at Manuel Rodriguez's mansion. Luna arrived at Manuel Rodriguez's grand mansion with a mix of nervousness and excitement. The grandeur of the place was undeniable. The wrought iron gates opened to a long driveway lined with ancient trees, leading to the main entrance of the house. The mansion itself was majestic, with its grey stone walls and tall windows adorned with heavy velvet curtains. Upon being greeted by one of the staff, Luna immediately noticed the difference between this place and the modest gardens where she had previously worked. She was led to meet Marta, the housekeeper of the mansion, a middle-aged woman with a serious but not unfriendly demeanor. "Welcome, Luna," Marta said with a slight nod. "You will start your work tomorrow. Today I will show you the gardens and introduce you to the other staff." As they walked through the vast grounds of the property, Luna couldn't help but admire the beauty and potential of the gardens. It was evident that they had been neglected for some time, but with a touch of care and attention, they could bloom again. Along the way, they met Charles, the head gardener. He was a robust man with grey hair and hands calloused from hard work. "So, you're the new helper," he said with an approving smile. "Welcome. We're going to need all the help we can get to get this place in order." While inspecting the areas that needed the most attention, Luna couldn't help but notice the curiosity in the staff's conversations about the owner of the house, Manuel Rodriguez. "He's an enigmatic man," said Charles with a thoughtful look. "Works hard and speaks little. Never married, never had children. They say he's never loved anyone, at least not after a tragedy in his youth." Marta, who was part of the conversation, added, "Despite his wealth, he's a very lonely man. He prefers the company of books and documents to social gatherings. The mansion is always full of important guests, but he rarely participates in the parties." Another staff member, Diego, who took care of the house maintenance, approached and, in a lower tone, commented, "Some say he carries a great sadness in his heart, something or someone from the past that he never managed to overcome." These comments piqued Luna's curiosity. Who was this man really, and what secrets did he harbor to be described so mysteriously by those who worked for him? At the end of the day, Luna felt exhausted, but eager to start working. The potential beauty of the gardens was a challenge she was ready to take on, and the stories about Manuel Rodriguez only increased her interest. She knew that transforming those gardens would not just be a job, but an opportunity to perhaps in some way bring a bit of life and joy to a place marked by so much silence and mystery. Luna's first day of work at Manuel Rodriguez's mansion began early. She arrived before dawn, determined to do her best. The vast and slightly neglected gardens awaited her, offering a perfect canvas to showcase her skills. With the sun just rising, Luna began working, her hands moving with the dexterity and knowledge acquired over years in the countryside. Each passing day saw Luna delving deeper into her work, slowly transforming the mansion's landscape. The plants revived under her care, the flowers blossomed in vibrant colors, and the shrubs were pruned into elegant shapes. The mansion's staff were impressed by how quickly Luna managed to bring beauty and life to the garden. Charles, the head gardener, watched with admiration. "You really have a gift, Luna," he said one day, inspecting a row of roses that had never looked so beautiful. "I've never seen anyone work with plants like you do." Even Marta, the housekeeper, who always maintained a serious demeanor, couldn't help but comment on the change. "The gardens are magnificent," she said, almost smiling. "Mr. Rodriguez will be very pleased." Manuel Rodriguez was a man of reclusive habits, rarely seen by the staff. He spent most of his time in his office or traveling for business. However, the transformations in the garden did not go unnoticed. One afternoon, after returning from a trip, Manuel decided to take a walk through the mansion's gardens. Walking along the gravel paths, Manuel observed every detail. The flowers were in full bloom, the shrubs meticulously trimmed, and the fragrance of the plants filled the air with a sweet, welcoming scent. He couldn't help but feel a slight nostalgia, a distant memory of times when well-tended gardens held special meaning for him. Determined to personally thank the new gardener for her excellent work, Manuel looked for Luna. He found her near a fountain, working attentively on a bed of lilies. He approached slowly, his steps almost silent on the stone ground. "You're Luna, right?" Manuel asked, his deep voice interrupting her concentration. Luna stood up quickly, wiping her dirt-covered hands on her apron. "Yes, sir." "Is there something I can help with?" she responded, a bit nervous to be in the presence of the magnate. Manuel observed her for a moment, and the world seemed to stop. His eyes fixed on Luna's face, and a wave of shock coursed through him. She was the spitting image of Lucia, his deceased girlfriend. The hair, the eyes, the smile. Everything about her reminded him of the only woman he had ever loved. "Sorry," Manuel murmured, feeling disoriented. "It's just that you remind me of someone I knew a long time ago." Luna felt confused, but tried to maintain her composure. "I hope they are good memories," she said, trying to ease the tension. Manuel, still visibly shaken, gave a slight nod. "Your work here is admirable, Luna. The gardens have never looked so beautiful," he managed to say, his voice softer. "Keep up the excellent work." Luna smiled shyly. "Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. It's an honor to care for these gardens." Manuel gave a slight nod and walked away, his mind swirling with memories of Lucia and the inexplicable resemblance of Luna to her. He needed answers, but knew the moment wasn't right for more questions. Meanwhile, Luna returned to her work, still unaware of the profound impact her presence had on the reclusive owner of the mansion. The following days were marked by contemplative silence. Manuel, always reserved, became even more introspective. Luna, for her part, continued to work with dedication, unaware of the complex emotions she had stirred in Manuel. The garden flourished, but something else was beginning to germinate in the silent corners of the grand mansion. Another day dawned at Manuel Rodriguez's mansion, and the garden was more beautiful than ever. Under Luna's diligent care, the flowers bloomed in a spectacular array of colors and fragrances, filling the air with a sense of renewal and beauty. However, Manuel could not shake Luna's image from his mind. The disturbing resemblance to Lucia, his deceased girlfriend, kept him restless. He decided he needed to speak with Luna again, not just to congratulate her on the excellent work, but also to try to understand the strange feeling that plagued him. While Luna worked in a flower bed near the grand fountain in the garden, Manuel approached her. His steps were determined, but his heart was heavy with a mix of anxiety and curiosity. "Luna!" he called out, and she turned quickly, surprised by Manuel's sudden presence. "Your work here has been nothing short of extraordinary. The garden has never looked so beautiful." "Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez," Luna replied with a shy smile. "It's a pleasure to care for this place." Manuel paused, his gaze fixed on Luna's face. Then he noticed the moon-shaped necklace delicately hanging around her neck. The shock was instantaneous. His eyes widened and he felt the ground sway beneath his feet. "That necklace," Manuel murmured, stepping back. The sight of the small amulet brought a flood of memories. It was the same necklace he had given to Lucia on her birthday many years ago. Luna, noticing the sudden change in Manuel's expression, became alarmed. "Mr. Rodriguez, are you all right?" she asked, concerned. Manuel tried to compose himself, but the intensity of his emotions left him dizzy. You remind me of someone," he said, his voice trembling. "Someone I knew a long time ago. And that necklace, it's identical to one I've seen before." Luna was confused and frightened. I don't know what to say, sir. This necklace was a gift from my mother." Manuel felt a wave of confusion and emotion wash over him. "Luna, I need to talk to you in private," he said, trying to remain calm. "Please, come with me." Still apprehensive, Luna nodded. Manuel led her inside the mansion, through the elegant and silent corridors to his office. He closed the door behind him, creating an environment of privacy and introspection. "Please have a seat," Manuel said, indicating a chair facing his desk. Luna obeyed, sitting nervously. Manuel remained standing for a moment, taking a deep breath before sitting behind the desk. Manuel remained silent for a few moments, trying to organize his thoughts. He knew he needed to tell Luna about his past, about the only woman he had ever loved. Taking a deep breath, he tried to find the strength to begin. "Luna, the story I'm about to tell is very personal and painful for me," Manuel began, his voice heavy with emotion. "Many years ago, I met a woman named Lucia. She was the only person I truly loved." Luna listened attentively, sensing that something important was about to be revealed. Manuel continued, his gaze distant as he relived the memories. "I was 25 years old and working at a small restaurant in the city. It was a simple job, but it was all I could manage at the time. Lucia was 23 and had moved from the countryside to study and work in the big city. She also worked at the restaurant, and that's where we met." Manuel paused, a faint smile touching his lips as he recalled the early moments with Lucia. "She was different from anyone I had ever met. She had a smile that lit up the room and a zest for life that was contagious. It was impossible not to fall in love with her. Our relationship blossomed quickly. We spent every free moment together, exploring the city, talking about our dreams and plans for the future. To save money, we decided to live together. It not only reduced our rent costs, but also allowed us to spend more time together, building our life together." Manuel's eyes filled with tears as he recalled the happy and simultaneously painful moments. "On Lucia's 24th birthday, I decided to give her something special. I wanted her to know how much she meant to me. I found a moon-shaped necklace, simple yet beautiful, that reminded me of her. I always told Lucia that she lit up my life like the moon lights up the dark night." He paused to take a deep breath before continuing. "On her birthday, I prepared a special dinner, and at the end of the night, I gave her the necklace. When she opened the box and saw the necklace, her eyes sparkled. I told her, 'Nothing is more beautiful than the night, and the moon illuminates the darkness, just like you illuminate my life.' It was a perfect moment." Lucia cried with happiness and hugged me, promising that she would always wear the necklace. Luna felt a lump in her throat as she listened to the story. The necklace that Manuel described was the same one her mother had given her. She looked at the necklace around her neck and began to understand the depth of the connection between Manuel and Lucia. During her college break, Lucia decided to visit her parents in the countryside. I was apprehensive, but I knew she needed to see her family. Unfortunately, she never returned. A few days later, I received a phone call from her parents saying that Lucia had drowned while swimming in a creek on their property. It was a devastating shock. I lost my footing. I was never the same again. Manuel's voice trembled as he recalled the pain he felt. After the tragedy, I couldn't return to the restaurant. Every corner of that place reminded me of Lucia, every customer's smile, every dish served. I decided I needed to change my life, find something that kept me busy and at the same time distanced me from the painful memories. Manuel took a sip of water before continuing. With the savings I had accumulated, I decided to open a small grocery store. I started with little, selling basic products. But I dedicated myself completely to the business. I worked day and night, without rest, trying to fill the void Lucia had left. Over time, the grocery store prospered. People trusted me, and the business began to grow. I started investing in new products, improved customer service, and within a few months, the grocery store became a neighborhood landmark. The initial success encouraged me to open more stores, and thus, little by little, I built a chain of supermarkets throughout the region. Despite all the success, Lucia's absence was always a shadow over my life. I never managed to fill the void she left. And then you appeared with the same appearance, the same necklace. The coincidences are too many. Luna felt tears streaming down her face. Mr. Rodriguez, my mother's name is Lucia. She is alive and taking care of my grandfather in the countryside. She always told me that she lived in the big city when she was young, but she never talked much about that time. Manuel remained silent, absorbing the revelation. Luna, are you saying that your mother is Lucia? It seems impossible, but at the same time it makes sense. The coincidences are too many. The necklace, the resemblance, the name. Luna nodded, still shocked by the discovery. Yes, sir. My mother always said that this necklace was a special gift from someone she loved very much, but she never mentioned the name. Manuel felt a whirlwind of emotions inside him. Luna, we need to clarify this. We need to find your mother and discover the truth. But for now, thank you for listening to me. Your words have brought a hope I haven't felt in a long time. Luna smiled, wiping away her tears. Of course, Mr. Rodriguez. We will discover the truth together. And so, with heavy hearts yet filled with hope, Manuel and Luna began to plan their next steps to unravel the mystery that connected their pasts. Manuel and Luna sat in silence for a few minutes, each lost in their own thoughts. The revelations and coincidences of the past hours hung in the air like a dense fog, making it difficult to think clearly. Finally, Manuel broke the silence. Luna, we need to find out the truth. There are too many coincidences to ignore. I want to propose something to you. Let's travel to your mother's hometown. We need to speak with her in person and understand what really happened. Luna, still processing everything, looked at Manuel and saw the determination in his eyes. I agree, Mr. Rodriguez. We need to clarify all of this. My mother is the only one who can give us the answers. Manuel nodded, feeling a sense of urgency and hope that he hadn't experienced in years. Very well, we'll leave tomorrow morning. I'll arrange everything. Prepare for the trip. Luna thanked him, getting up to leave. I'll get ready. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Please call me Manuel, he replied with a slight smile, trying to ease the tension of the moment. Luna smiled back and left the office, leaving Manuel alone with his thoughts. She headed to her room, feeling the weight of the day's revelations on her shoulders. As she lay down, her mind couldn't rest. She thought about her mother, the necklace, and all the stories she had heard. How did it all fit together? Meanwhile, Manuel was also restless in his room. He lay in bed, but sleep wouldn't come. His mind was flooded with memories of Lucia, Luna's words, and the strange coincidences. Could Lucia still be alive? And if she was, why had she never returned to him? Each thought seemed to lead to more questions than answers. The night passed slowly for both of them. Manuel and Luna, each in their room, barely managed to close their eyes. The hours dragged on as their minds raced, trying to understand what fate had in store for them. Finally, morning arrived. With it came the hope of answers and the anxiety for the journey that could change their lives forever. The morning was clear and fresh as Manuel and Luna departed the mansion, heading towards the small town in the countryside. Manuel drove a sleek and comfortable car, while Luna watched the rapidly passing scenery through the window. The big city soon gave way to vast plains and lush green hills, a familiar and comforting sight for Luna. As they traveled, Luna began to talk about her childhood on the farm. I've always loved plants. Since I was little, my mother taught me how to take care of the garden at our house. We spent hours together, planting, watering, and harvesting. My grandfather also taught me a lot about nature. He used to say that plants have a special way of talking to us if we know how to listen. Manuel smiled, appreciating the passion in Luna's eyes as she shared her memories. It sounds like you had a happy childhood, despite the difficulties. Yes, Luna replied with a wistful smile. It was a simple childhood, but full of love. The farm was a wonderful place to grow up. Nature always brought me peace. The conversation flowed naturally, but both could not ignore the growing anxiety they felt. Manuel was apprehensive about what he might discover about Lucia, while Luna was worried about her mother's reaction upon seeing Manuel again. The unanswered questions hung heavily over them, increasing the tension with every mile traveled. The hours of travel passed slowly. Manuel drove steadily, but could not avoid the thoughts that besieged him. The possibility of Lucia being alive and hiding the truth for so many years was almost unbearable. On the other hand, Luna tried to stay calm, but her heart raced, anticipating the reunion with her mother and the revelations that might come. Finally, after hours on the road, the car entered the small town in the countryside. The streets were narrow and tree-lined, with simple and cozy houses that exuded an air of tranquility. Luna guided Manuel through the streets until they reached her family's property. Luna's farm was a welcoming sight, with a large green field, fruit trees, and a well-tended garden. The house was simple, made of wood, with a porch that seemed to invite visitors to sit and enjoy the view. Upon arrival, Luna felt a mix of relief and nervousness. She was back in the place she always considered her true home, but the circumstances were very different now. Manuel parked the car, and they both got out, taking deep breaths of the fresh, clean country air. Luna looked at Manuel and smiled, trying to convey confidence. "Welcome to my home, Manuel. Let's find out the truth together." Manuel nodded, feeling the weight of expectation. They walked towards the entrance of the house, ready to face the answers that awaited them and to solve the mystery that had unexpectedly united their fates. When they knocked on the door and Luna called out, "Mother," the door of the house slowly opened, revealing Lucia, Luna's mother. Time had been kind to her, but the marks of a life full of struggles and secrets were still visible on her face. Her eyes widened upon seeing Manuel, and for a moment the world seemed to stop. "Lucia?" Manuel's voice broke the silence, full of incredulity and emotion. "Is it really you?" Lucia brought a hand to her mouth, trying to hold back the tears welling up in her eyes. "Manuel," she murmured, her voice choked. I can't believe it." Luna watched in silence, perceiving the intensity of the moment. She had heard many stories about her unknown father, but never imagined that the reunion would be so emotionally charged. Manuel took a few steps forward, still unable to believe what he was seeing. "You're alive? All this time? Why, Lucia? Why didn't you come back? Why did you make me believe you had died?" Before Lucia could respond, an elderly man appeared at the door, leaning on a cane. It was Carlos, Lucia's father, whose face showed both surprise and guilt. "Lucia, who is he?" he asked, staring intently at Manuel. Lucia swallowed hard, trying to find the strength to answer. "Father, this is Manuel, the man I loved and thought I would never see again. And Luna is our daughter." Carlos turned pale and nearly lost his balance. "What? Manuel? Luna? Oh God, what have we done?" Manuel, now furious and confused, took a step towards Carlos. You knew all this and let me believe Lucia was dead? Why?" Carlos took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. "Please, Manuel, let me explain. Everything I did to protect my daughter and my family. When Lucia came home during the holidays, we discovered she was pregnant. She was scared, worried about what you would think and how it would affect both your lives." Lucia interrupted, tears streaming down her face. "I wanted to come back, Manuel, but my father convinced me to stay. He said it was better this way, that it would be safer for me and the baby. He thought you wouldn't accept the situation, that it would be too difficult for both of us." Manuel shook his head, incredulous. "But you lied to me. You told me she had died. That was cruel, inhuman. You have no idea how much I suffered, how much I cried for you." Carlos stepped forward, trying to reach Manuel. "I know, Manuel. I know it was wrong, and I ask for your forgiveness. I was desperate, afraid of what could happen to Lucia and the baby. I thought I was protecting my family, but I see now how wrong I was." Luna, who had been silent until then, finally spoke. "Why didn't you tell me earlier, Mother? Why did you let me grow up without knowing the truth about my father?" Lucia sobbed, trying to find the right words. "I was scared, Luna. When you were born, the only thing I wanted was to protect you. And later, as time went by, it became harder and harder to tell the truth. I didn't know how to explain all this to you." Manuel took a deep breath, trying to control the fury and pain he felt. "We need time to process all this, but one thing is certain. We want to know the whole truth, and I want to be part of Luna's life, to make up for lost time." Lucia nodded, still crying. "Of course, Manuel. We owe it to you and to Luna. We will tell you everything that happened." The tension in the air was palpable as everyone gathered in Lucia's living room. The small room, decorated with memories of a simple and cozy life, seemed an inadequate setting for the magnitude of the revelations about to be made. Carlos, his expression heavy with guilt, took the initiative to speak first. "Manuel, there are many things you need to know," Carlos began, his voice trembling but determined. "When Lucia came home during the holidays, she brought more than just homesickness. She was pregnant, and at that time, her mother was very ill. We needed her here, and at the same time, the news of the pregnancy took us by surprise." Manuel stared intently at Carlos, his heart heavy with the revelations. "And why didn't you tell me anything? Why did you let me believe Lucia was dead?" Carlos took a deep breath, his eyes filled with tears. "I did what I thought was best for my family. Lucia was scared. She thought you wouldn't accept the situation, that your life together would become very difficult with a baby on the way. And with her mother's health deteriorating, we decided it was best for her to stay here, away from the complications of the big city." Lucia, sitting next to Luna, held her daughter's hand tightly. Tears flowed freely down her face. "I was terrified, Manuel," she confessed. "I was only 24 years old, and the news of the pregnancy left me completely scared. I didn't know how you would react, and my father convinced me that it was best to stay here and start a new life. Over time, the lie that I had died became easier than facing the truth." Manuel shook his head, still trying to process everything. "So, all these years, you lived here with our daughter, without ever telling me the truth." Luna, who had been silent until then, finally found the courage to speak. "Mr. Rodriguez, Manuel, I grew up knowing nothing about my father. My mother told me stories, but she never mentioned your name. Everything I know about you is what I have recently discovered." Manuel looked at Luna, his heart breaking as he saw the young woman he never had the chance to know. "Luna, you are my daughter," he said, his voice overflowing with emotion. "And I lost all these years with you because of a misunderstanding, because of an unfounded fear." Luna nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I lost a lot too, but now we have a chance to make up for lost time. We have a chance to be a family, despite everything that happened." Lucia squeezed Luna's hand, her gaze fixed on Manuel. "Please forgive me, Manuel. I thought I was doing the best for Luna and for myself, but I see now how wrong I was." Manuel took a deep breath, trying to control the mix of anger, sadness, and relief he felt. "I need time to process all this, but I want to know my daughter. I want to be part of her life, and I want to understand more about what happened." Carlos, feeling the weight of his guilt, placed a trembling hand on Manuel's shoulder. "I know I was wrong, and there are no excuses for what I did. I only hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive and move forward." Manuel nodded slowly, still absorbing all the revelations. The path to forgiveness is long, but I want to try. I want to rebuild my relationship with Lucia, and most importantly, with Luna. And so, with the weight of the truth finally revealed, Manuel, Lucia, and Luna began to tread the difficult path of reconciliation. The wounds of the past were still open, but the hope of a future together, of finally being a family, illuminated their hearts. The answers they had sought brought pain, but also the promise of healing and renewal. The afternoon turned into evening on Lucia's small family property, wrapped in contemplative silence after the day's emotional revelations. The sun set on the horizon, casting a gentle glow over the fields and trees, creating an atmosphere of peace and reflection. Carlos, noticing everyone's emotional exhaustion, made a suggestion. "Manuel, please stay with us tonight. It will be good for all of us to have more time to process everything and talk more tomorrow." Manuel, feeling the need for more time to think and absorb all that had happened, accepted the invitation. "Thank you, Carlos. I accept the offer. I think a night of rest will be helpful for all of us." Lucia prepared a simple but cozy room for Manuel, while Luna helped set the table for a light dinner. The meal was marked by comfortable silence, each person immersed in their own thoughts. After dinner, Manuel retired to his room, feeling the weight of the day's emotions. Lying on the bed, Manuel stared at the ceiling, his mind spinning with recent events. He thought about Lucia, the woman he had deeply loved, and all the lies that had kept them apart. He also thought about Luna, the daughter he had never had the chance to know and raise. The pain and loss he felt were intense, but at the same time he felt grateful to finally know the truth. Manuel also considered Carlos's deteriorating health. Despite his mistakes, the man was clearly ill and in need of care. He knew that life in the countryside, although peaceful, offered few amenities for the treatment of serious illnesses. And then, an idea began to form in his mind. "I can't be as cruel as they were to me," he murmured to himself. "They made mistakes, yes, but they did what they thought was right at the time. I have to be better. I have to offer them a chance at redemption and a better future." With this resolution, Manuel finally managed to fall asleep, the sleep bringing him temporary peace. The next morning, the house was wrapped in a silent calm when Manuel woke up. After a simple but comforting breakfast, he called Lucia, Luna, and Carlos for a conversation in the living room. "I thought a lot during the night," Manuel began, looking at each of them. "And I've made a decision. I know we have a lot to overcome, but I want to start by offering you a new opportunity. I want all of you to come live with me at the mansion." Lucia and Carlos exchanged surprised glances, while Luna watched intently. "Manuel, that's very generous," said Lucia, with tears in her eyes. "But we don't want to be a burden to you." "You won't be a burden," Manuel replied firmly. "Carlos, your health is deteriorating, and in the city you'll have access to the best medical care. Lucia, Luna, you'll both have a stable and secure home, and more importantly, we'll have the chance to get to know each other, to rebuild what was lost." Carlos, emotional, nodded slowly. "I made many mistakes, Manuel, and I can't undo them. But I deeply appreciate the chance for redemption that you're offering us." Luna smiled, feeling a mix of relief and joy. "Thank you, Manuel. It will be a new chance for all of us, a chance to be a family." Lucia, wiping away tears, held Manuel's hand. "Thank you for your generosity and for forgiving us. We will accept your offer with gratitude." And so, with a new purpose and a clear path ahead, Manuel, Lucia, Luna, and Carlos began to plan their new life together. The journey would be long and full of challenges, but there was hope. Hope that, despite the pains of the past, the future could be bright and full of love. The move to Manuel's mansion was quick and efficient. Manuel arranged comfortable and suitable transportation to bring Lucia, Carlos, and Luna from the countryside to the city. Upon their arrival at the mansion, the grandeur of the place further surprised Lucia's family. The spacious rooms, elegant furniture, and lush gardens created an environment completely different from what they were accustomed to. Lucia and Carlos were settled into comfortable rooms on the ground floor, appropriate for Carlos's deteriorating health. Determined to provide the best care, Manuel hired a private doctor to monitor Carlos's health and ensure he received the necessary treatment. Luna was warmly welcomed by the mansion's staff, who already knew and admired her work in the gardens. However, her position was now different. She was no longer an employee, but Manuel's daughter. This new status brought with it a mixture of responsibilities and freedoms that Luna embraced with enthusiasm. The first days were dedicated to adjustment. Despite the initial shock, Lucia began to feel at ease in the mansion. She occupied herself with caring for Carlos and helping to organize the new family routine. Manuel's presence brought a new dynamic to their relationship, a mix of nostalgia and hope as they both tried to rebuild lost ties. Carlos, despite his fragile health, felt relieved to see that his daughter and granddaughter were in a safe and comfortable environment. The medical attention he received at the mansion was far superior to what he had in the countryside, and he was grateful to Manuel for his generosity. Luna, in turn, found joy and freedom in the mansion's gardens. No longer pressured by her role as an employee, she worked in the gardens with renewed happiness. Her hands moved with natural dexterity, pruning, planting, and tending to the plants as she always had. But there was a difference. Now she did it as Manuel's daughter, an integral part of the family. Manuel watched Luna working in the gardens and felt immense pride. Seeing his daughter happy and immersed in something she loved brought him a peace he hadn't felt in years. He often walked through the gardens, talking with Luna about her plants and sharing stories from the past. Family dinners became a special time of the day. Sitting at the table, they shared stories, laughter, and even some tears as they talked about the past and dreamed about the future. Manuel and Lucia, although still navigating the complexities of their feelings, found comfort in each other's presence. Luna, seeing her parents reconnect, felt more complete and hopeful than ever. The new family dynamic brought challenges, but also opportunities for growth and unity. Manuel made an effort to be present in Luna's life, making up for lost years. He taught her about business and management, preparing her for a promising future. Lucia, on the other hand, rediscovered her own strength and independence, contributing to the household's harmony. Carlos, despite his physical limitations, felt surrounded by love and care. He spent hours talking with Luna about gardening and life in the countryside, strengthening his bond with his granddaughter. As the months passed, the mansion became a true home for everyone. The gardens flourished under Luna's care, reflecting the new life and hope they had found. The family, united by circumstances and rediscovered love, faced each day with courage and determination. The relationship between Manuel and Lucia also blossomed over time. Conversations in the garden, moments shared during dinners, and memories of the past brought a sense of renewal to the love that had never been completely forgotten. Manuel, who had carried a silent pain for so many years, began to open his heart again. Lucia, for her part, felt grateful for the second chance fate had given them. Every gesture, every word exchanged with Manuel was a step towards healing. They rediscovered the affection and companionship they had once shared, now with a maturity and depth that life had taught them. Evening walks in the gardens became a ritual for Manuel and Lucia. Walking side by side, they talked about the future, the dreams they could achieve together, and the pride they felt for Luna. These moments were precious, filled with a tenderness that healed the wounds of the past. The mansion, once a symbol of loneliness for Manuel, now pulsed with the life and love of a reunited family. Every corner of the house, every flower in the garden reflected the transformation that union and forgiveness had brought. The following months brought a period of growth and strengthening for the new family. The relationship between Manuel and Luna developed rapidly, creating a true father-daughter connection. Manuel strove to make up for lost time, while Luna, with an open heart, accepted the love and support of her father. Manuel found joy in the small moments shared with Luna. They spent hours together in the gardens, where Luna taught Manuel the secrets of plants and flowers. Manuel, in turn, shared his life experiences and taught Luna about business, preparing her for a promising future. These interactions not only strengthened their bond, but also created an environment of mutual learning and respect. The days were filled with moments of happiness and overcoming. Carlos's health gradually improved with medical care and the constant love of his family. Lucia, rediscovering her inner strength, felt more secure and happier than ever. The mansion, now a vibrant and welcoming home, reflected the harmony and love that grew among its inhabitants. Lucia's birthday arrived, a day that always brought mixed memories for Manuel. This year, however, he wanted it to be special, a symbol of a new beginning. Manuel planned every detail carefully to ensure that the day would be unforgettable for Lucia. Lucia's birthday morning began with a breakfast in the garden, surrounded by the flowers Luna tended with such care. Manuel, visibly emotional, watched Lucia as she smiled and laughed with Luna and Carlos. After breakfast, he asked Lucia to accompany him to a special area of the garden, a place he had prepared especially for this occasion. They walked together to a small gazebo adorned with fresh flowers and soft lights. Manuel stopped and held Lucia's hands, his eyes filled with love and determination. "Lucia, this place, this moment, is for you," Manuel began, his voice trembling with emotion. "All these years, I never stopped thinking about you. And now that we've found each other again, I want to spend the rest of my life by your side." Manuel knelt down and took a small velvet box from his pocket. Opening it, he revealed a delicate ring encrusted with small precious stones that sparkled in the sunlight. "Lucia, will you marry me and give me the chance to be the husband and father I always wanted to be?" Tears streamed down Lucia's face as she looked at Manuel, feeling a mixture of joy, surprise, and deep love. "Yes, Manuel, I accept. I accept with all my heart." The garden erupted in applause and laughter as Luna and Carlos, who had been watching the scene from afar, approached to embrace the couple. It was a moment of pure happiness and fulfillment for everyone. The marriage proposal not only symbolized the renewal of love between Manuel and Lucia, but also the promise of a future together as a family. A few months later, Manuel and Lucia were married in an intimate ceremony, attended only by family and close friends. The event was simple, but filled with meaning and emotion. The garden, now fully transformed by Luna, served as the perfect venue for the ceremony. The flowers, carefully chosen and arranged, created an atmosphere of natural beauty and serenity. Manuel, in an elegant suit, waited anxiously while Lucia, radiant in a simple and elegant dress, walked down the aisle with Carlos and Luna. The ceremony was marked by sincere and emotional vows, reaffirming the commitment and love they shared. The reception, held in the mansion's main hall, was full of laughter, music, and joy. Friends and family celebrated the couple's union, toasting to rediscovered love and the new life they had all built together. With each passing day, the relationship between Manuel and Lucia grew even stronger. They shared dreams, overcame challenges, and built a life full of love and purpose. Luna, seeing her parents together and happy, felt part of something greater, a family united by love and perseverance. The new life in the mansion was a testament that, despite the adversities of the past, love and dedication could transform and heal. Manuel, Lucia, Luna, and Carlos now lived in a home where every day was a celebration of love, unity, and hope for the future. I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you did, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more stories like this. Leave a like and comment below what you thought about the story. See